Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 2019 Leader College Application Webinar. My name is Nikisha Boyer, Network Engagement Associate Director, and joining me and presenting to you today are my colleagues, Elaine Reese, our Director of Research, Destiny Mitchell, our Program Coordinator with the Network Engagement Team, and Susan Adams is joining us remotely, who is our Institutional Designer. We are excited to open the process for this year's Leader College application cycle. Our agenda for today will cover the following. We will overview the introduction, which includes eligibility, application material, and submission information, criteria and review process, how to access our application via the ATD Connect, give you an overview of the application components and instructions. We will also walk you through the submission process and again emphasize on multiple occasions of when the applications are due. And we will also allow time towards the end of the presentation for Q&A. So please be sure to jot down any questions you may have during the webinar presentation. Along with receiving information about registering for this webinar on the August 20th email announcement, institutions were provided a link to the Leader College application site where you will begin the application process. The application is designed as a course in ATD Connect and is public via the link provided. Therefore, a login is not required. We will now guide you through the process by clicking on the Leader College application site link. When you click on the link, you will be taken to the home page that has active links to sections of the application, and you may begin with the introduction page. We thank you for your continued work as an Achieving the Dream Network College. For over 15 years, ATD has been working with colleges such as your institution to redesign the student experience with the ultimate goal of increasing credential attainment and closing equity gaps. A hallmark of ATD experience is to recognize exemplary institutions that have implemented strategies that have been proven to be successful over time. One of the ways we do this is through the designation of Leader College status, which indicates that every person affiliated with your institution is committed to ensuring student success for all students. Leader College designation may be earned by colleges that have improved in 4 key Leader College metrics that have been shown to drive stronger student success outcomes. We invite your institution to apply for Leader College designation, which will be based on the following eligibility criteria. Your institution must have completed at least 3 years of active participation in ATD, active ATD participation in current year, including payment for this academic year, good standing with your accrediting agency, meaning that you're not on warning or probation. This year's Leader College application includes 3 components. Quantitative evidence, comprised of data template and data analysis. Qualitative evidence, which is a written narrative. And your President or Chancellor letter of support. All Leader College components must be submitted via the online form on the Qualtrics Submission website. We've provided a downloadable Leader College application worksheet that applicants may use to collaborate and write responses before uploading content to the online form. The 2019 Leader College application is due September 27th by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At any point you have questions or need assistance with the application process, please contact us at network@achievingthedream.org. Applications will be submitted on their ability to provide the following comprehensive information: evidence of an upward trend in student outcomes over the past 4 years, qualitative explanation to support the improvement in student outcomes, a clear link between the impact of the specific actions the college has taken and the improvement in student outcomes. We do recognize that unanticipated changes may interrupt the steady improvement in student success outcomes. Please explain the circumstances of such unexpected events if applicable. Each application for Leader College status will be reviewed through a process that may include consultation and feedback from ATD staff and coaches to supplement information submitted by applicants. Component 1 of the Leader College application starts with the qualitative evidence, which has 2 parts. First is the data template. The Leader College metrics require colleges to report 4 years of data, show a 3-year upward trend on 2 student outcome metrics, such as completion of Gateway, college-level math and/or English in year 1, persistence from year 1 to year 2, fall to fall retention, college credits completed, attempted with C- or higher grade within 1 year of initial enrollment, and completion of a certificate or degree within 4 years of initial enrollment. Colleges must demonstrate through data disaggregation, the narrowing or closing of equity gaps on at least 1 student characteristic from the options listed. We ask that your disaggregated groups represent sizable portions of your student body. Regarding subgroup disaggregation, you should show improvement in a subgroup over time, but not a case in which one group is benefiting at the expense of another group. Please refer to this page for notes where we have provided specific examples for you. The second part of the quantitative evidence involves a data analysis. Institutions must provide a narrative to describe the improvement in the 2 or more metrics selected. Please include the following in your narrative: a description of the equity gap you narrowed or closed on at least 1 metric and the student population impacted. Also include information on the nature, scale, and timing of the large-scale student success reforms and practices implemented to improve outcomes. This data analysis should be completed on the downloadable worksheet provided via the links that you will see throughout this ATD Connect module. Achieving the Dream has developed the Leader College data template to assist institutions with tracking student success data and presenting results. Here to guide you through navigating and filling out the data template is Elaine Reese.
Thanks, Lakeisha. So the idea with the data template is the fact that it standardizes everything a little bit for you. The idea is that I have created this in a way that you can see very easily, once you set your data in place, the differences between subgroups, for example. So you can, as you're typing in the data, you can get a better idea of how you're performing on a certain metric, if you're closing gaps, and things of that nature. So going in a little more detail here to what Nikisha had mentioned earlier, first, think about your cohort, and I'm going to go into these in a little more detail once I show you the data template, but at its core, you have an intro page where you define your cohort. You either are selecting students who are new to your institution in a given fall term, so in other words, anybody who is in your institution for the first time, whether or not they have college credit or previous enrollment somewhere else, as opposed to students who are first time ever in college. These are students who are coming in typically with no credit previously, and they are just true first-time students. Full-time and part-time are always both included, as long as they're degree-seeking or certificate-seeking in some fashion. So you'll be defining that up front, and then that will carry through the rest of the data metrics. So you can't just have new to the college on one page and first time ever in college on another page. You pick one and it will continue through. You then have a choice of different measures. You have completed Gateway English and or Math in year 1. So that is students who are successfully completing with a C- or higher Gateway or college level courses within the first year. Now, you will have the option on that page for Math, English, or the combination of Math and English. This still all only counts as one metric, I want to warn, because some institutions might go through and say, we have 3 different metrics that we've entered on this page. It's still considered one category, therefore is only one measure. You can fill out all of them if you want to, you're doing great, but it's only going to count one time. The persistence of your cohort from year 1 to year 2, so that's fall to fall retention, and that is defined as the student has either re-enrolled in your institution the following fall term or has graduated. Third measure that you have an option of selecting is college credits earned versus attempted, earning a grade of C- or higher. So this is something where your numerators and denominators will look much bigger because you're looking at number of credits, not number of students, but they should at least reflect the same cohorts that you might have been filling in on other pages. So if you're looking at the fall 2015 cohort and you have 1,000 students, these are credits earned and attempted by those same 1,000 students, but your metric is credits. And then finally, 4-year certificate or degree completion. So that is pretty straightforward. How many students in the particular cohort earned a certificate or degree 4 years after initial enrollment. And as you click on the next page, you'll be taken directly to the data template where there's a little bit of a preview, but you can download it. I highly recommend downloading the file and saving it to somewhere on your computer and not just working out of memory somewhere. And we're letting that open up. And you should see here, you have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it. It will open up, making sure that I can enable editing. I'm not going to show you how you save it to your computer because I trust you'll do that, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. There are a lot of instructions and examples that are given. You will find when you open it for the first time, there is a green highlighted tab at the bottom here that says Intro, Start Here. Make sure to start here. There's some valuable information that's beyond just the which metrics we're going to evaluate. Reminding that you're going to select 2 of any of the 4 metric tabs and make sure that you close an equity gap or narrow it on between subgroups on at least one of those metrics. There are reminders and examples of what constitutes closing a gap, and you will then be asked, you'll see green boxes. Now, the thing to keep in mind as you move throughout this template is that anytime you see a green box, that's somewhere where you can enter information, whether it's putting in text or entering a drop-down. So you have your institution name, defaults to Sample Community College. Please make sure to enter your college's name. We want to know who you are, and if your data template gets detached from the rest of your application and the file gets renamed, at least we will know who you are. Your cohort name, your cohort type, so you'll see there's a drop-down that you're selecting either all student institution or FTEIC only. I'm going to select all student institution. Race ethnicity, you are selecting 3 if you're referencing race ethnicity for any metric. So here you will have a choice of all major categories. We recommend that in most cases, you probably will have white as a subgroup, as a majority to compare to, but we understand every institution has a completely different race ethnicity distribution, and that might not be a majority. You might have hardly any white students. So pick 3 that make sense. Make sure that regardless of how interested you are in a subgroup's population, that your group sizes are sufficiently large. We don't want to see you make inferences on a population of 7 students, for example. Those percentages, each student means a whole lot. So 25 is a good rule of thumb, even if you're in a very small institution. If you have only 1 or 2 race ethnicities that are even measured, that's okay. If you have just 1, maybe this isn't the metric to pick. If you have 2, you can still pick those 2 but don't feel obligated to fill in for a third if you have a very, very tiny population. And then there's also a your choice. So your choice is, we've had institutions come to us and say, well, we're looking at traditional, non-traditional age students, the example that I give here. Anything you enter in this box will be defined in a binary term, as we call it, or as I refer to it, it's a dichotomous characteristic. In other words, you can split into two groups, which will default to your group and not your group. So if I go here and I type traditional age students, you will see in subsequent pages, and let me pick some race ethnicity group here. I have multiracial, and I have white, and I will have Hispanic. If I go to the next page, so Gateway Courses is the first tab. And again, let me zoom in on this so anybody can see this. That's probably better. You will see, well, I didn't change my institution name, so it's still Stanford Community College. Gray boxes means you don't have to do anything with it. Once you've filled it out in the green box, it will copy wherever it needs to copy. So that includes your cohort type. Also, you will notice you have the ethnic groups that you've selected appear elsewhere in the template, wherever they should appear. And the optional group, I put in traditional age student. And look, you have traditional age student and not traditional age student. It will always default to not whatever it is you enter. So here, the way that all these templates are set up, you always have the denominators at the top. Always refer to your cohort definition. The cohort years themselves will change a little bit depending on the metric. So we know that this is the very beginning of a school year, and you might not have been able to get your fall enrollments yet because your school year might only be not even a week old. So for something like Gateway Courses, where it's just something that happens within the scope of a year, we look through the fall 2018 cohort because 18-19 has ended. If I go ahead to fall-to-fall persistence, you will notice that the cohorts, they say fall 2014 and go through fall 2017. We understand fall 2019 has just started. To measure fall-to-fall persistence, you need to see who came back in fall 2018. You don't always know who came back yet in fall 2019. So the cohorts are adjusted so that you have an opportunity to provide data for everything. You're not going to be disadvantaged because maybe your semester started a month later than another school semester and you can't fill it out and get that 3-year change. But you will have the denominators at the top. So if I say overall, I have 100 students and say 125 and 150, 175, that's for overall. You'll go ahead and see, all right, let's say I'm filling out Gateway College level math-only completion. Well, how many out of those denominator of students completed math, Gateway math in the first year? 50, had 60, back down to 55, and then we jumped up to 70. You'll see what happens here is anytime that you have, anytime you have the numerator and the denominator, these percentages will automatically calculate. You will also see the percentage point differences that appear in this last. So the first column is a 1-year change, the last column is a 3-year change. So you see in 1 year, 37 to 40, that was a 3 percentage point change. But between the first cohort and the last cohort, 50 to 40, that was a 10-point decrease. So you will see that those automatically calculate. For situations of subgroups, everything will calculate the same way, but there's this gold-colored row that shows the gap or the difference. So without going in and entering a bunch of numbers on the spot here, you will see that same kind of percentage point calculation will be pre-calculated for you. So if you have entries for female and for male, you will see that maybe it was a 2-point gap. It became a 5-point gap. You will see if the gap increased or decreased, so you don't have to sit there and do the math. We try to design it to do the math for you. Also institute a little bit of error checking that, let's say you entered an extra 0 and this became 500. You'll notice that you've some really great math completion rates at 500%. But we know that's not possible. So the cell will become red colored in its text. To alert you, you might want to double check this number because something's not making sense. Now, if it's still within the realm of 0 to 100, we can't fix those typos for you, but if it's something that's physically impossible, which most of the time it's a matter of somebody entered an extra digit, you'll get these ridiculous numbers like this that don't exist in reality. We bring this back to 50, and then the number fixes itself. So all of the tables work exactly the same way. You have the denominator section at the top, and then whatever numerator metrics. In this case, this is a long one because you have math only, you have English only, and then you have math and English. But being it's all the same denominator, you can keep that, and you're just deciding which numerators you want to fill in. I will bring some attention in the gap difference that for ethnicity, because it's the only situation where we have 3 possible groups, I've put in some rows where you have each of the combinations. So whichever 3 you put in, it will populate to say this is multiracial versus white, multiracial versus Hispanic, white versus Hispanic, all the possible combinations you have there, and see where gaps might have narrowed or been eliminated or perhaps grown. Fall to fall persistence, again, it works the same way, except we're looking at slightly different cohorts, and you don't have nearly as many rows of numerators because it's just a single metric. Credits attempted is similar here. You were looking at the same cohorts as gateway courses because this is a metric that happens within the scope of a single year. And then finally, 4-year completion. Students earning a credential within 4 years. Being that you need 4 years to have elapsed to actually get your numerator, you will notice that these cohorts are much older because for fall 2014, for 4 years, we're looking at the end of 15, the end of 16, the end of 17, the end of fall 2018. I guess technically we could have squeaked the fall, could have squeezed something a little further, but not quite. So therefore, we are looking at these slightly older cohorts. And that, in a nutshell, is how this template works. The idea is to just make it as easy as possible to standardize. I will also note that the cells are locked down, everything that is not a green cell that you can't accidentally delete out of formula. But I did try and create it where, let's say, you're trying to enter all of these metrics. If you need to copy paste from something, you can at least copy paste by column. But if you try and copy paste the whole table, these gray cells are going to tell you can't change them. You know, if I say, this is, if I try and enter anything, it's not going to work. But if I enter something here, that'll work, but that'll say the cell or chart you're trying to change is on a protected sheet. So that is for your sake. I'm not saying why did my numbers not work out, because the sheet is locked down so that you don't accidentally delete something out that you didn't want to. That is a Leader College template.
Great, thank you, Elaine. So continuing with the second component of the required application material is the qualitative narrative. Here we're asking institutions to reflect on their culture of student success and demonstrate how your institution's approach builds on the foundations of the 7 capacity areas of the institutional capacity framework. We are looking for a cohesive, engaging story of how your institution leveraged and/or augmented institutional strengths to implement large-scale student success reforms, and the extent to which the college has built and strengthened capacities to sustain those reforms. This reflection narrative should also be completed on the Leader College application downloadable worksheet. The President or Chancellor letter is the third and final component of this year's Leader College application material. This letter should explain why the institution should obtain Leader College status, including how your college has contributed to the network, such as hosted other colleges for learning days, presented on the college's ATD work at national conferences, contributed to an ATD publication, or partnered on an ATD grant initiative, etc. And the president's letter should also explain how your college will continue to contribute to the network if designated as a Leader College. On the introduction page and here, we've provided links to download the Leader College application worksheet. So why don't we click on that worksheet and take a look at it now. Okay, so as you will see, this worksheet contains the same information we have covered in ATD Connect. The document may be downloaded and shared with your institutions, colleagues, and stakeholders who are designated to contribute to this year's application. You will submit a compiled response from the feedback you've gathered for each narrative section of the worksheet. Okay? So to recap, to be considered for the Leader College certification, colleges must upload the following required material: the data template, as Elaine has thoroughly went through, the worksheet that includes A, an analysis of the data you put into the data template, and B, a reflection narrative on your culture of student success. And third, you will upload the document of your president or chancellor letter. To wrap up our presentation, Destiny will illustrate how to submit your completed application material via the Qualtrics Submission website. Destiny?
Hi, so I'm going to show you exactly what the Leader College application looks like in Qualtrics. So this is the introduction page, and this has the same information and instructions that we saw in ATD Connect. Please keep in mind again that the submission for the Leader College application is due September 27, 2019 at 5 o'clock Eastern. And so on this page, you're just going to enter your college contact information. You're going to enter the name of a person who is going to be the contact person if we have any questions or we need to follow up on anything. And then here, this is the last page. It's really simple and really self-explanatory. You're just going to upload your college's data template. I'm just going to put in some example things right here. You're going to upload your completed application worksheet. Again, just putting something there. And then finally, you're going to put in your president/chancellor's letter. And then here, once you've uploaded all three of your documents, you're just going to scroll over, and boom, you're done.
All right, great. Thanks, Destiny. I would like to take this time to invite Susan Adams to share any further tips on navigating ATD Connect or to cover any important parts that I may have omitted. Susan Adams is the person who built our ATD Connect for this year's applications. So I don't know, Destiny, do we need to?
I'm here.
Oh, hey, Susan.
Hi. Greetings, everyone. Yeah, we, for the first time, have placed the application process into our instance of Canvas LMS. So we welcome any feedback or any issues that may come up for you as you navigate through each page, and hope that that works best for you. But I'm also available through email to answer any questions that come up for you. But we look forward to this being a user-friendly, easier process for you to both find the links that you need to get to Qualtrics, but also be able to navigate through each section more easily than before. So we're looking forward to that process. And again, we welcome any feedback.
Okay. All right, great, Susan, thank you. Okay, so again, submissions for all applications. If you're seeking to obtain Leader College status for the first time, you must submit your application no later than 5 p.m. Eastern on September 27th. So now we'll use this opportunity to open up the lines for question and answers. So I believe there's a question or a text box that allows you to enter in any questions that you may have had throughout our presentation. So we'll give you a couple minutes.
Okay, so we have a question from Kimberly, and she asks, does the completion metric include transfers?
So the completion metric is number of students who earned a credential at your institution. So no, if a student transferred out prior to graduating, they would not be included in this metric. But keep in mind, you're looking for progress in this metric within your own school. It's not a matter that it's being compared to somebody else's data. So therefore, it would be consistent from year to year that, okay, if it doesn't include transfers, it's never going to include transfers in a particular term, and we're only looking within your own institution, if that helps.
Great, thanks, Elaine.
Okay, so we have another question. Jennifer asks, what is the suggested page limit for the president/chancellor's letter?
What we've gotten in the past is usually it's a one-pager. Periodically, we may get 1.5, but it's never over 2 pages. So unless you guys have been doing a lot of work in the network and want it highlighted, that's fine. So that's, again, it's just one component of the total application. We're really looking at closing equity gaps and increasing your student success work overall. So I would say definitely a one-pager for sure, no more than 2 pages. Thank you. Okay. Still have time for a couple more questions if you have them. All right, any other questions, Destiny's coming through?
No.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, this will conclude our presentation, and we welcome you to submit any questions that you may have now or at the time you're starting your application process up until the due date of September 27th. You could send your questions or need any assistance technically to network@achievingthedream.org, and we will be happy to assist you. So thank you for attending this year's Leader College application webinar, and also note that the recording of this webinar will be made available no later than this Friday. So check our website for that information in case you have colleagues or for yourself to listen to the presentation for any specifics of the instructions and guidance that we've given you. Have a great day. Thank you.